This week on the podcast, it is Just Us Boys. Is BattleBit Remastered just a summer fad, or will it live to see fall? We're going to talk about our thoughts on this new Battlefield-like shooter. And after that, does DENUVO actually impact gaming performance? We're going to talk about that. And of course, we've got deals of the week. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro.
Are games good? Question mark.
Are games good? Question mark. Hello,
Why
and
games bad for you?
do video
Yes,
games cause violence? We're going to talk about that today.
No, we're not.
Does
Hi.
Minecraft connect to my Wi-Fi? Yes or no?
Hi, my name is Joe Lieberman, and I'm here to talk to you about the dangers of rap music.
Oh no. Get me out of here.
Hello, welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, making the most timely, relevant references possible, Danie K. With me, as always, the wonderfully beautiful, the MrGreenElite. Mr. Green, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I signed some paperwork today. I'm officially employed.
Yeah.
Super exciting. Super exciting to make some commissions. It's gonna be great. But other than that, I mean, just vibing and thriving. I've started my July charity run, as I always do every July. Of course, supporting the wonderful cause of St. Jude's. So be sure to check that out whenever I'm live. Feel free to donate some money for that cause.
Heck yeah. What's your goal this month?
My goal is $400.
And
If we hit $400, I will personally purchase the game Visage and do a stream playing that horror game, because everyone knows I am an absolute dumpster fire when it comes to horror games. And so if you want to see me literally scream like a small child, make sure it gets to that $400. I also have one of the increments is Alien Isolation, and another one is Outlast Trials. Danie, you said you were going to play with me at one point, so
yeah.
what better way to,
I'll play Outlast Trials with you. I bamboozled you into agreeing to play that game with me, so I better be playing it with you. We're also joined, speaking of all the spookiness, we're also joined by the spooky and the ookly, the Mendacii. Mendacii, how are you today?
Great. The spookiest thing that has happened to me today is I had a dream about cleaning up cat shit. And then 3 hours later, when I woke up, I cleaned up cat shit. Coincidence? But anyway, I was gonna say good luck with the old ladies chapter in Visage. But then again, I kind of started thinking, good luck with all of Visage. Green. I hope you enjoy it. There's a clip somewhere floating around YouTube of me almost snapping my couch in half from jumping up and then straight down while playing Visage next to my fiance, because I pooped my pants at one point playing that game. So that was pretty cool. I look forward to hearing about your continence or countenance in and your experience playing through Visage.
Well, we don't have to worry about it if we don't hit the $400,
Yeah. Do it for the kids. Wink.
I
Yeah.
am doing it for the kids, and I will
Oh, I mean
definitely
the other
play the
people
game.
are
Yeah, I
your
will definitely play the
donators
game. Yeah,
for
yeah.
the kids.
So
for the kids.
link will be in the description of this episode if you want to donate to that cause. Make sure you go if you have it, if you have the ability to, if you have it in your heart, go support them kids and watch Green get scared. So again, links in the description of this episode. Otherwise, thanks for watching and listening to the show. Be sure to stick around until the end of the show to hear about some awesome deals that we found for you this week. Of course, if you do miss any part of the live show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. And of course, if you want to join us live, you can do so on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Most time. I think that's all we got to do for housekeeping, right? Do we want to just get into BattleBit?
Yeah. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, Green.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it, man.
Okay.
Happy birthdays were
Oh yeah, I
sent.
did celebrate a birthday, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You're older
Yeah.
now. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm 30. I hit the 30 this weekend, and then like kind of surprised me with she like contacted a bunch of my friends, including Danie and Mendacii and Andy Falco 64, Otis, Casual Scav, uh Quasar. They all like said some really nice things, and they made me cry like a little child. It made me happy inside.
Yeah, she sent me the video of him crying. It was his tears are delicious.
Did not videotape it.
Ah, you have feelings and people care about you. Ah.
I don't think she videotaped it.
Yeah, that teddy bear wasn't just a teddy bear. Anyways, let's talk about BattleBit. BattleBit is the hottest new Battlefield-like first-person shooter that is giving DICE a run for their money in everything but graphical fidelity. I think that's fair to say, right? A little bombastic, a little maybe a little over the top, but I think it's accurate.
Yeah.
It's available on Steam only for Windows, starting at $14.99 American, and it's also rocking a very impressive 89% positive score. And it's even made even more impressive when you find out that it's like a 3-person development team for this game.
Damn.
Yeah. Green, am I accurate so far? Everything sound right to you? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you said giving DICE a run for its money. If this was like 2011 DICE, no. All
Right.
But like this is 2023 DICE we're talking about, and they're sweating some fucking bullets.
I don't even know what the hell to do next, honestly.
Yeah. So, like, just jumping right into what the hell this game is, right? The core gameplay loop of this game is incredibly simple. It is, you are, playing in squads of low poly soldiers and fighting in very large scale battles, competing for objectives against another team. It is, and you have a couple different game modes. Matches can be either 32 versus 32, 64 versus 64, 128 versus 120. I'm sorry, not 128, 127 versus 127. The environments are semi-destructible, with many buildings being able to be entirely destroyed and will collapse on top of you. I've experienced that a few times. Green, you want to describe how terrifying that feels even in a low poly environment?
Yeah, when a block is coming down on your head, it is quite terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very well put together game so far, at least in the experience that I've had with it. There are also vehicles, including is it called an APC? Is that
there's APCs, LAVs, that just depends on.
There's helis and quad bikes, boats and Humvees. Yeah, so I mean, it does give you.
You really got all of that in there, man.
Yeah, well,
like the full suite.
It's surprising to me that a game like this would have helis. Just like adding something like that into this game is a little surprising to me. Like, I would have been concerned about it right away, just with like issues of server latency and stuff like that, but they have not really been like an issue.
Right.
So there are 5 roles to play. There's assault, medic, support, engineer, and recon. Assault is your basic bitch stuff. You're just trying to lay down fire, get kills. Medic, do I need to explain it? Support,
the best class.
Support, you drop ammo and you get LMGs. Engineers get access to RPGs and other anti-vehicle stuff. You can also repair vehicles. And then recon is your snipey boys. Everyone knows the recon guys. They sit on the far edge of the map and do barely anything except for annoy everyone else.
So it seems like a 1-to-1 ratio to Battlefield so far.
I think so. As someone who's not like a super seasoned Battlefield player, really the most experience I have with Battlefield is the 2042 demo. It seems like that. But for other Battlefield like games that I've played, like Squad, very similar. I think like the big thing with like Squad, it limits how many people can occupy a certain role, so you can't have just like a full team of designated marksmen and snipers, or like a full team of like support and engineers. So you know you have to, teams have to be a bit more balanced. There's some other things like Squad that makes it a little bit different. I don't think they have helicopters. They might now. I haven't played Squad in a very long time. I kind of got annoyed with the community and the development time that Squad was taking. So yeah. And in terms of like other Battlefield like games, like Insurgency Sandstorm doesn't really have a lot of those roles. But Insurgency Sandstorm is more focused on the gunplay than on squad play as it is. So yeah, Green, did you have anything you wanted to talk about in terms of like the roles and vehicles and stuff like that before I moved on to my next point?
No, they do have a dedicated role for the squad leader that only one person can be in. But other than that, it is the standard assault medic, engineer, support, which is like the the heavy machine gun and recon. Very very reminiscent of Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, that era of Battlefield. Even in the gunplay, it's very reminiscent of Battlefield. The only addition that like you see from that in comparison is the addition to of leaning Q&E. Battlefield, you were never able to do that as like the wobble and the lean. But the addition is really really nice.
So that's kind of like the core of the game, like, but I wanted to talk about like what does this game do well. And for me, for starters, this game does amazing at creating these large scale battles that makes them feel real, even though you're in a low poly environment. Like it is very immersive. You do, like some games like this or with this aesthetic can sometimes feel just like a little too silly, where you don't actually feel like you're in a large scale battle, right? You feel like you're just running around like a low poly map with a low poly gun. But there is some kind of magic, maybe it might be the right word, that this game is able to pull off, where you feel immersed. You want to play like you are actually in a squad or actually in a war zone. I don't know how else to describe it. There's just something there. Like you see like tracers whiz past your face. You hear like the snapping cracks of bullets. You can hear VoIP of other players, especially when they go down. There's a default setting where like if you go down, your VoIP is activated for a short period of time. So you can like hear other players call for help. Like wanting to get res and stuff like that, or trying to tell you like, hey, like on the corner or whatever.
Even voice chat between like squad members and squad leaders is still proximity, which is fantastic. It's adds to that unrealistic realism that Roblox Battlefield can bring you.
Yeah. It does.
Roblox Battlefield.
Yeah. So yeah, it does a really good job of just immersing you in the game. All of it contributes to a fantastic experience. In terms of the game running itself, it runs incredibly smoothly, even with a lot of stuff on the screen. But I also want to recognize that like I might not be the best judge of that, because I don't have a potato. I have probably what I would consider a higher mid-end PC now. This game, it doesn't take a lot to run. They recommend a 64-bit processor, Windows 10 or newer, 6 gigs of RAM, GeForce GTX 450 or equivalent, and 2 gigs of space on your hard drive. So it's not a very intensive game. It doesn't take a lot of space on your drive at all. It's very lean.
You should be able to run this on pretty much any newer laptop.
Yeah.
Like
I was just gonna say, like, your
with high
Walmart
frames.
gaming laptop,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
Yeah. Like even ones with like dedicated graphics, you should be able to play this game.
Yeah.
Like it's that like quote unquote low quality, but it's packing and so much more.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I've kind of doted on this game. I have a couple critiques, but I kind of want to pass it off to you guys. Anything else you want to add, and like what you've really enjoyed about this game?
Yeah, I like that. So for me, this game is what I couldn't put my finger on of like why I enjoyed this game so much. I think it's nostalgia. And like because like it, as I said, it feels just like Battlefield 3. Like it takes me back to playing Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, with the additions of, you know, VoIP, the drag system where you can like drag people in the leaning. I love all those additions to it. So yeah, it's a very nostalgic game for me, and I just enjoy playing it. It's been great. Honestly, I don't really have a whole bunch of cons for it. There's a few weapon balances that I think they should address, but other than that, like it's a well put together game. No DLC content, no cosmetic store. It's just a game, like a complete game.
Weird.
That launched
Yeah.
complete with no additional. Like you can get Twitch drops for skins. That's it. Like there's no cosmetics they're throwing in your face or a battle pass. Like buy.
I did notice one thing, in that there are some items that you get for being a Patreon supporter, but I think they're cosmetics.
Okay.
So, and again, that's not even, that's a pretty direct.
That's almost better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredibly direct. Like, hey, if you're giving us monthly revenue, here's like here's your gimme. Here's your incentive to do so. I'd
be interested to see what their tiers are like, honestly. Their Patreon tiers.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me look it up real quick. BattleBit Patreon.
While you're doing that, as someone who was like a really big time like Battlefield player, Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, a bit of Battlefield 4, and then like even the DLCs, Vietnam, et cetera, like that just never really, there was never a game that came around to scratch that itch again. And after Battlefield 3 kind of ran its course, I lost really any want or desire to play anything like it again. So it's really cool seeing that this game comes out from 3 people that obviously put a lot of time likely into those games and delivered something so close to that the living memory of Battlefield 3, but in this style. That's really awesome. What'd you find?
I'm seeing so there's the support pack on Steam. It doesn't seem like the Patreon pack or the Patreon support is still available. That seems like maybe they that went way at the dodo. But yeah. No, but to Green's point, like it's incredibly clean. The UI is there's no trying to push you into a store. There's no trying to like shove DLC in your face. It is just clean. It just wants you to buy the game and play it for however long you're going to play it.
Tight this.
Yeah.
Battle
really
pass,
like
battle pass, gold.
It's almost like a nostalgia of a different set too. You know, like you got nostalgia for Battlefield, but like a nostalgia of what games were like when we were in our teens.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no skin of your favorite homophobic streamer. There's none of that here. So I only have like 2 complaints for this game. One is that some of the textures are just like a little too plain. Especially on buildings where it just kind of gets a little difficult to understand what you're actually looking at sometimes because it's just like flat red thing right in front of you. Yeah, they can kind of the textures and the way that the buildings are shaped can kind of just mesh together sometimes because of how simple they are. And then my only other complaint is that you can revive allies through floors and walls, and then they will just pop on the other side. So like if I'm on a wall and then Green revives me through it, I will appear on the other side of the wall with him. Like it's it's like a Penn and Teller trick, That's kind of cheesy. Those are my only 2 complaints, really, and I think those are pretty mild. My final thoughts really on this topic is that overall this is a great get for anyone with a spare few bucks in their wallet, and it is a great time to play it. Really, to answer the question of is this game just a summer fad and will it last, I think this game will have a decent lifespan. Certainly it will bring kids who are already into like Roblox FPS games and the people who are disappointed in recent Battlefields together. That's going to be a weird combination. But I think once the newness dies down, I think this game will probably have a solid year or 2 where you can get into a full 64 versus 64 match pretty consistently. I would say getting into a full 127 match might be a little bit more difficult after a year. So if you are playing, you really want to you really want to experience like that huge scale of like 127 versus 127, get in on it now. Is I can't imagine that it will fill consistently after like the summer. But 64 versus 64, I think you'll have a consistent year or so where it will get pretty full. So yeah, I don't think it's a summer fad. I think it's got a little bit of legs to it, but even if this is just some sort of summer 2023 fad where by the end of August this game is going to be dead, it's $15 and you're going to get a lot of entertainment out of it. You're going to get your money's worth out of this game in terms of dollars to hours of entertainment. That is my opinion on this game. Green, what do you think? Do you think this is going to last much longer than the summer, or
I mean, it's currently like kicking Battlefield 2042's ass in terms of concurrent players. Daily on average concurrent players. Honestly, I think people have been looking for a game like this, so I think it's going to last a good while. Especially if they throw any other content in there. But as of right now, I wouldn't even tell people to wait for a sale. Like I bought like 3 different people this game.
Yeah.
Because it's $15 and it is worth it.
Yeah.
It is so fun.
Yeah.
Especially when you want to get like 8 of your friends or 7 of your other friends into one game, because that's a lot of games have this issue where there's only up to 4 or up to 3. So, and I have a lot of friends that I play with, all right, I would like to play with. So having that option of being able to 8 stack in a match and just have a good time is well worth the money of this game.
Yeah. One thing I did want to mention, and this is a paraphrase of a secondhand quote here, but Big Fry was talking about it in one of his recent videos where he was kind of lamenting the fact that like the FPS genre, the tactical FPS genre, is kind of dying outside of like a couple AAAs. And in that video, he mentioned that BattleBit peaked with a concurrent player base that was greater than the peak player base for games like Squad, Insurgency Sandstorm, and Days Gone, I think, together. So there's
all those titles though were $60 a piece. at launch,
Sandstorm
right?
was $40, but
Okay.
your Days Gone, I'm not sure.
$15 on day one.
Yeah.
Like, it was a no-brainer. Like, I think that this team knew what they were doing in placing it at $15, because like at that price point, for a Battlefield like game, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well pick it up.
Yeah. I think this is probably one of the most robust endorsements of a game, or robust reviews of a game that we've done in a while, in terms of FPS at least. I'm having a hard time thinking of like. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No.
No,
Finish what you're saying.
I would say in terms of FPSs, at least, I can't think of another FPS that we've so robustly recommended other than like Hunt Showdown.
Yeah. And I believe that this is it still technically early access?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So like there's more coming. And there's
Yeah.
more updates, patches. Like it just had a big update. I think it was 1.7. So like it's trucking along, and I'm sure they'll add more stuff as we go. So
yeah,
pick it up. That's all I can say. Pick it up.
So I think we've doted on this game long enough. I think we've given it our resounding 2 thumbs up. Do we want to talk about, does DENUVO ruin gaming?
Oh boy.
Right?
Boy.
It's not a secret that DENUVO isn't well liked at all in the gaming industry, right? Their DRM service has long been cited as one of the worst and most infuriating pieces of software that can be bundled into a game. And sometimes, like November 2021, it can even leave your games unplayable if their servers go down. So outside of that, the other critique that's been long levied at DENUVO is that their software has a noticeable drain on your game performance. But is that true? Mendacii, care to tell us?
Absolutely. So obviously DENUVO is back in the news again, much to the surprise of absolutely no one. But before we get into the story, I feel like it's actually important to define what DENUVO is, so that we're not just kind of repeating DENUVO and bad like so many media outlets out there might be, or just random people that talk to you that try to entertain you on the internet. So DENUVO, in short, is an anti-cheat software meant to stop people from pirating games or hacking and cheating in games. Um, the specifics of how DENUVO does its encryption and how the algorithm works are a trade secret, but it is clear that it's designed to be extremely hard to crack or otherwise get around. So, how this works, it conducts a hardware check to determine the unique hardware configuration of your computer right when you download your game and like you install it. So, after you install your game, DENUVO is going to go ahead and look at everything that makes your computer. And then it generates a unique copy or a unique key based on the copy of the game that you have. And it's literally designed for not just the copy of the game you bought, but your rig as well. So, a second action is performed by DENUVO after the installation completes, in which it encrypts parts of the executable code, namely the game's main functions. So that way you can't run side software that will go ahead and pop open the game so that you can look at all of the executables and the game's code, so that you could say make mods or cracked versions of the game and then sell copies of the game for free. i.e., pirating and modding, cheating, etc. DENUVO then hides all of what it's doing by masking and obfuscating everything that it has encrypted so that it's harder to figure out what it's doing or how to decrypt this encrypted code. Then, after you actually launch your game, DENUVO decrypts all the protected parts of the code in real time. Allegedly, this allows the game to run normally on your PC. However, there's obviously a lot of background processes going on in order to decrypt that code. It all seems pretty damn sophisticated, right? Like it's been proven to be hard to crack de novo encryption. It's just not impossible. Think of it more like delaying the inevitable when it comes to, say, a particular persistent or talented hacker. So, even though it doesn't necessarily mean a game is invulnerable, it does help for a time. So, why do we constantly hear about de novo in the news? Well, it seems like it actually does severely impact many gaming rigs across the board from low end to high end while it tries to work its magic. Games like Tekken 7, Resident Evil Village, a ton of others have had major issues with frame drops and other performance issues when compared to cracked de novo free copies of the games. Simply put, de novo is pulling more performance out of your PC in order to get you to stop using cheats or notice that you are using cheats. Um, Games like, say, Resident Evil Village, which is a single player game, it really feels like overkill. I get it. You don't want someone to pirate your game or, perhaps use mods. You want it to work as intended. But Resident Evil also did have its own secondary DRM installed alongside de novo. So obviously, gaming companies are really worried about you pirating games and getting free copies of the games rather than paying for it. However, it's not a far stretch to think that de novo is bogging down your performance while it's running and decrypting everything that it has already encrypted. Danny, did you have something to add?
Yeah. So is it is are they running stuff for anti-cheat, or are they running stuff for anti-piracy, or both?
Both.
Both?
Both.
Okay.
Yes. So it is an anti-cheat software, but it is also that's why when you first install your game, if it
Mhm.
has de novo on there, it encrypts everything on in that game so
Yeah.
that you cannot crack it, so that you cannot make a copy, so that you cannot resell copies of that game.
Mhm.
And it's specific to that installation copy, specific to your rig. So it
Yeah.
makes it incredibly hard for you to actually work with anyone else that would like to try and make some extra dough, cracking the code and then selling cracked copies of the game because your encryption is going to be completely different from someone else's.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah.
So yeah. So why does De Novo now, and this is part of the news story, why do they say that this whole process doesn't actually impact your gaming rig's performance? Well, De Novo has been running its own initial internal benchmarks for years, which is, of course, about as trustworthy as any other business or government entity conducting self inspections. But in this case, are these statistics actually true?
I would
Is De
never do
Novo
that.
right, yeah. We believed Blizzard 110% when they said they were doing their own internal reviews and everything seems kosher. It's
Yeah.
kosher.
Yeah. No, just totally fine. We've conducted our own review of ourselves and found that we did no wrongdoing.
They
Yeah,
even slapped a Kotick approved sticker on there where it's just a picture of Bobby Kotick going, thumbs up.
exactly. So
I'm not scum.
so is the Novo actually effective at not just stopping piracy and cheating players while also not impacting the performance of gaming rigs or hampering player experiences? Well, according to an Ars Technica interview with Erdeto's chief of operating officer of video games, Steve Hewen, De Novo wants to, quote, get in the good books of gamers. So DENUVO wants to gain trust with PC gamers by providing reviewers with 2 copies of a game. One with the anti-tamper software in it, and one without. Sounds great on paper, but that would also require media outlets to answer a much higher number of variables. What are the specs of the PCs these copies were run on? Did you run both copies on both PCs? How far did you get on both copies? It's likely more to cover and within the same amount of time. I'll be frank, it's completely absurd and unreasonable. However, I don't know how they could prove their impact or lack of impact in any other fashion they would deem, quote, safe, especially when you're dealing with businesses like within the gaming industry that are very worried about anything and everything. Even still, is this really worth it? Like, will there even be a trickle down effect from them trying to do this? Is it enough? So there are other anti-cheat softwares, and there's one particular one that I think it was at the end of June I saw this story coming out, and I know that they've been doing it for a little while, but I'm a bit of a turtle. So Call of Duty's Ricochet anti-cheat is kind of interesting. They set out to afflict cheaters with what they're calling hallucinations. These hallucinations are of fake players to draw their attention, the cheater's attention, or putting things in players' peripherals that seem 100% legitimate and registers across aimbots, wall hacks, anything and everything. So when you see someone 360 no scope nobody up on top of a roof, they have just self reported. For all intents and purposes, these hallucinations are real to them. They're essentially AI clones of other players within the actual game. So they're copying their movements. So if someone's crouch walking and then they open a door and they dip in, something like that, that is what this AI clone will do. And the aimbot will whoop, snap and shoot at nothing, making them look insane. But not only that, will players be able to see this and be like, oh, you're still connected to the server and we can register this. Did you just shoot at a hallucination that we put in the game? We will remember this. And then they'll boot you. So, like, the question around Ricochet has been why not just ban players? Because one, this is way more fun. But two, it's actually teaching their software a lot about how these bots work. So, all of that aside, I really want to know if there's a better way to run anti cheat or DRM on a game because we have evidence that things like DENUVO do fuck with your PC's performance across the board and across low end to high end. And then you have things that are kind of interesting like Ricochet. And cheating will always be an issue in PvP settings. So, will anti cheat actually ever be good, or is it a necessary bitter pill that everyone who plays PvP games going to have to swallow? Do you guys have any ideas that might be like kind of interesting, say somewhere in the realm of Ricochet for some kind of anti cheat? Playing games like Hunt Showdown, BattleBit, so on and so forth.
So I guess my first thing is,
Hmm.
for me, the DENUVO question is always surrounded their DRM
Yeah.
and the other things about like always online stuff. And when it comes to like the performance question and DENUVO, the onus is on developers. Developers have to account for the hit to performance that DENUVO is going to take because they are the ones who are wanting to institute it. It's not on players to have to deal with that. It's on developers to make sure games run. In terms of anti-cheat and gaming performance, easy anti-cheat is on so many games, and I don't hear people complain about easy anti-cheat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I've ever had an issue with it.
I've never heard anyone complain that easy anti-cheat drains performance on any game. I there's like at least a half dozen games off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Hunt Showdown uses it, BattleBit uses it, Dirty Bomb used it when Dirty Bomb was around. I want to say, doesn't Rainbow Six Siege use it?
Apex
believe
Legends
so.
uses it.
Yeah.
Apex.
I think the only time I've ever had an issue with easy anti-cheat is you used to back in the day, back when I was your age.
Oh
you
boy.
used to have to manually update it for Battlefield 4.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like you
So-
couldn't jump into a match unless you updated the anti-cheat when there was an update. It didn't just automatically do it with whatever game we're playing at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. So just like my question is like, so other anti-cheat software can work well and not hit performance but if DENUVO's doesn't, what's going on with DENUVO's easy with DENUVO's anti-cheat?
Right.
Other than like actually dealing with cheaters, a Call of Duty is a very special example where it is just absolutely filled to the brim with cheaters, more so than like any other game. And in a game like Call of Duty, it really ruins the experience way more. Tarkov would be another good example of like exceptionally filled with cheaters. And I think I'm gonna give Activision Blizzard like props. I think the idea of adding hallucinations and other bits to confuse and cause cheaters self-reporting essentially is probably the best option there is.
Something to add too about that Ricochet. Ricochet is named after the anti-cheat team that has developed it, which I've also recently found out about. Very strange, and they're working specifically with Call of Duty. So I don't know if it's like an in-house thing or if they hired out and then they're like, "You work for us now." I didn't look far enough into that, but I did find it very interesting that they basically have like an in-house anti-cheat team developing their own patented anti-cheat software.
Yeah, that is very interesting. So I don't know. I think they are on the right track. I think Ricochet is on the right track, but I don't know if there's any other creative or inventive ways to deal with cheating.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Green, how about you?
Ban them.
Ban them.
That's all I can say.
Right.
Ban them. Just ban them.
Ban them.
Don't fuck around. Just ban them.
Yeah.
Don't do a massive ban wave and then the next day put your game on sale to make more money off of the said cheaters that you had just done a ban wave on. I'm looking at you, Battlestate Games. You did it. It's real. Don't say you didn't, because we watched it happen IRL in real time.
Yeah.
So like, just fucking put an anti-cheat on your game. Players don't fucking cheat. It's not rocket science. If you can't get good at the game, then don't play the fucking game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like it's not that difficult to comprehend. Like just because you want to have a good time does not mean that you need to ruin the experience for everyone else. Go play fucking Animal Crossing, like the little bitch that you are.
Hey man,
and have a good time in Animal Crossing. Okay, don't come into fucking Escape from Tarkov. Go on
I'm
customs.
not making
and
you a
wipe the
fucking swing
lobby.
anymore.
You know, like just play the fucking game.
God damn, dude. Just because I like to catch jellyfish in my off time.
Dude, if you play Animal Crossing and you enjoy it, great. It's a chill game. That's what some of these motherfuckers need, is just a chill game to have a good time. And be on their own little island with their own little things and their own little turnip farms, and
But I want to ruin your day, Green.
It's been feeling like that every fucking day for like 3 weeks now in any game I play, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I'm suffering from the case of the get goods, so
Yeah. Well, like, see, that's just it, is that like you've got that, but there were only two other things that I really wanted to bring up, and one was gonna harken back to something you said, Danny, when you were talking about um people that were, say, like, purchasing cheats, stuff like that, like stuff that's specifically for always online. So like that stuff makes sense for let me separate that real quick. So you had brought up the always online aspect,
Yeah.
and that is what always got me when it came to games like Resident Evil 8, a game that has no multiplayer component. It is a single player, story based survival horror game. Why the fuck do I have to be online? I should be able to play this as long as I have power. This is silly. So like that stuff is, again, one of the reasons why people have always, shat on DENUVO. Why do I have to be online in order to play this? And DENUVO causing server wide issues and so on and so forth, like you've said before. um, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like, obviously, you have to protect your asset being your intellectual property being your video game that you made. Um, but like I had said, if you have a hacker that is persistent and talented enough, they will crack the encryption. And your game is going to be for sale on shady websites or just up for grabs for free. That's just how it is, and yeah, like that sucks when it hurts your bottom line like that. But I'm gonna be a little hyperbolic, maybe a touch. What's new? I really do feel like at least 95, if not 98% of the people that want to play your game are going to buy your game in order to play it, whether that's for $2 or full price. I don't see a lot of people putting a lot of eggs in the basket of I'm going to trust this shady website to download like an
G2A.
exe file. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not gonna go here and download an exe file that just says Rainbow Six Siege on it,
Yeah.
and put that shit in my mouth like it's a
Well,
lollipop. Like that's stupid.
yeah. Well, even when piracy, like, so you mentioned G2A. One of the things about that made G2A so successful was that uh, it wasn't that you were buying cracked games, right?
Mhm.
You were buying legit keys for for mostly Steam.
Yeah.
The piracy for that G2A was embroiled in was the fact that people were buying games with stolen credit cards and then reselling
Mhm.
those keys to essentially launder the money.
Yeah, yeah, you're
That was
cleaning it in that
mhm,
fashion. They they
yeah.
they become the washer and the dryer.
You wouldn't download a car.
Yeah.
I so
So
fucking would.
like
Oh,
for
I
like
do have to say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no. So my point being was that like for a lot of people, G2A had like a little bit more squeaky clean, but the in terms of like the shadiness was still shady, but
Mhm.
you were still getting clean files.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You weren't getting like these cracked files. You're getting like these legitimate copies of games. Just those copies of games were taken in a illegitimate fashion, right? So people would
Right.
still want to like, which I think is just kind of proof about to your point of like, people aren't going to want to trust like shady cracked games.
Your back alley limeware, if you
Hmm.
will.
Yeah, yeah. No, they would still rather get like a real version of your game just at like a reduced price. And for a lot of, I think there was a significant portion of people who thought G2A games was legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Keep
Sorry,
getting ads for
Green.
them on TikTok too.
Are they still around?
They're apparently still around. I get ads from TikTok for some reason. I have no idea why.
Wow.
I
But
see a couple
I do
posts
have to
on
say,
Twitter as well.
my last thing I have to say is like, yeah, as Mendacii said, if it's a game that like is made well, people are gonna want to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Like I like that itch.io has that whole platform of like you pay what you think is right for the game. That's great.
Mhm. Yep.
Um, last thing I have to say is that in terms of like solutions for cheating. I
Yes.
think BattleBit did it really well because they publicly shame.
Oh, they do?
They
Yeah.
publicly shame bans. Like they'll do like a ban wave like every day, and like it will pop up mid game on
Some
the
fucking
screen. It'll
Hunger
be like
Games shit.
80, 90, 100 people just like poop,
Yep.
banned for,
Yeah.
banned for, and it's like, yes.
Siege does the same thing. Rainbow Six Siege
Great.
does the same thing. Yeah. Do you guys want to go from DENUVO to deals?
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a good little hop skipping away. But yeah, let's always shame cheaters and laugh at them because they probably spent money on cheats and now they can't play the
Yep.
game.
I will say
Pee-pee,
it's
baby, poo-poo boy.
for BattleBit, it's not just cheaters.
Hmm.
It's also people who use racist language and derogatory language
Oh,
and stuff.
very nice.
Mhm.
Yes. So you'll
Like
see,
the whole-
you know, yeah. Yeah, let's talk about deals. So mine is a Prime Day deal. It is the GoWito 3-in-1 keyboard vacuum duster cleaner thing. You know how shitty products are named.
Yes.
I said shitty product. This doesn't seem like it. It's in my cart. It probably isn't like the greatest thing in the world, but probably also not the worst. It's $23. It is a 3-in-1 air duster and vacuum cleaner and air compressor kind of deal. The reason I'm suggesting this is 2 cans of condensed air is going to cost you about $18 from Best Buy. How do I know that? Because I have made that purchase many times. So by the 3rd use of this electric duster, it pays for itself. I would personally just use it as a duster. I wouldn't trust it as a vacuum necessarily. I also wouldn't want to like use something as a vacuum and then let all that dust kind of settle inside of it and then blow that all over my PC.
Oh my god. Oh my god, what a nightmare.
Yeah. So that's my suggestion. $23 American. Link in the description. It's going to be an affiliate link if you want to help support the show. Mendacii, what do you got?
I've got something a little fun, a little interesting. Dark Tide. I talked about this quite a while back and covered it from beta to release. It's a lot more clean now. The servers are pretty stable now, and it is 30% off, which means it's only $27.99. There's a ton more stuff to do and a lot of fun gameplay to be had, especially for under $30 with this beautiful, disgusting, dark, gothic space nightmare. So yeah, I highly recommend it and go check that out.
All right. Well, I technically, I technically don't have anything. It's like right now, as of recording, it is officially a Prime Day, as well as this Steam Summer Sale. So be sure to check all those out. But if I had to say a physical deal, well, not necessarily a physical deal, but like a deal of some sort, I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna say BattleBit on Steam. Like it's not on sale from the summer sale. I don't believe it's just worth it. $14.99. It's worth it. You can you can get the supporter edition for 5% off right now.
Yeah. I think that's a good one anyways.
I honestly like it I can't like toot this horn enough. It's so worth picking this game up.
Yeah. Awesome. I think that's the show then this week, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so that's the show. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time and attention is always appreciated. If you've made it this far, be sure to drop us a like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts on everything that we talked about today in the comments down below, especially if you've been playing BattleBit. Let's talk BattleBit in the comments. Yeah, let's go around real quick. Green, do you have anything coming up on your channel?
I'm going to be doing some streaming of Hunt Showdown just because the event has been going, and I'm doing the charity stream. So be sure to check that out, twitch.tv/MrGreenElite. And I'm all on all the socials, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Trying to get back into doing TikTok videos. I had like a big content surge, and then now I'm kind of getting back into a slump. So I'm trying to combat that. So come hang out with me, come chat in my chat, and just have a good time. Thinking about switching to blue screen too. It's gonna be cool. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Mendacii, what do you got coming up?
Nothing really as far as my channel goes. That'd be twitch.tv/Mendacii. I haven't really been streaming, been focusing a lot on my education. I'll probably be looking at a couple of new games coming out. So just be ready for some reviews coming up on Next to Nothing. And you can check me out here on our weekly show for now.
Heck yeah. Coming up for me this week, we took basically all of last week off because we were all busy in the holiday. So coming up this Saturday, the Saturday after the show goes up on YouTube, we have episode 4 of the most recent session of Arcana.
Yes.
The following week we have episode 5, the finale. And then I am working on bonus content for Arcana because I don't think we're actually going to get a session in this month. I'll probably have to wait until August because I have big plans and it's going to require me to do lots of work. And then after I'm done with all that work, I'm going to have to herd these cats. So, that's what's going on with Arcana. Otherwise, you can shitpost with me on Twitter at DanieK, DANIECAE. I'm looking at making a Threads account because I already have an Instagram account. It's going to be the same at DanieK. So if I do make a Threads account, come hang out with me over there. Otherwise, I think that's going to be it. Until next week, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll see you again next week.